So, hello everyone, I'm Ryan, and oh, this is Shimon Ben. So today there's a presentation about Generation Y for us to present you guys. And in this presentation today, we'll be exploring to some important topics of Generation Y's culture and lifestyle. We'll be looking at how this generation influenced the global pop culture, how technology changed the way people live, communicate, and how their fashions, images, lifestyles, and culture changed during this generation. So for now, first of all, before getting into those main categories, let me explain a little bit about Generation Y. So next one. So if we're talking about Generation Y, it refers to people who were born between the years of 1981 and 1996. And as you all know, this generation comes after Generation X and before Generation Z. And they will also call them millennials because many of them grew up or became adults around the year 2000. And I want to say like one of the most important things about them is they grew up during a time of major technological change. That means that when they were children, the technology was kind of very simple. Uh, they really need to use the cassette tapes, CDs, landline phones, or they really used to watch the television. But as they grew older, computers, the internet, emails, and mobile phones became part of their daily lives. And because of that, people from Generation Y have experienced the transition from an offline world to an online world. And that's why we can even say like Generation Y is kind of like a bridge between the world before digital age and the fully connected world that we live in today. They really shape the modern culture, technology, fashions, images, and lots of technological changes happen during this generation. So in the early years of Generation Y, during 1980s, music was mainly influenced by pop and rock. Artists like Michael Jackson, Madonna, and Prince were extremely popular. And when people talk about the big four of England during 1980s, they usually mean the four famous bands, which were Oasis, Blur, which are bands which are called Oasis, Blur, Radiohead, and The Verb. So if we're talking about the famous music from Europe during 1980s, we need to think about that four famous bands. And if we're talking about globally, and if we're talking about the famous music, especially from the Americans, we need to think about that Michael Jackson, Prince, and Madonna. And starting their times, music videos were becoming very important, especially with the rise of MTV. And during that time, music was focused on performance styles and strong personalities. And as we move into the 1990s, there was a change. And at the time, hip hop was kind of growing fast. Like if you have a look at their music, it usually talked about the stress, identity, emotions, which many teenagers related to. So famous artists like Tupac and the Notorious B.I.G., also known as Biggie, usually used music to talk about the social issues and real life experience. And and in the mid 1990s, there was a change and pop music started to rise again. The boy bands like the Backstreet Boys and the girl groups like the Spice Girl uh, grew extremely popular, especially among young people. And if we have a look at our country's music during 1990s, we also have that great and the famous like Hey Ma Win, and also famous bands like Iron Cross, also known as IC, with the band members of Lee Pugh, Yui, and Neil YY, and so on. And also country singers like Yamabi Dane and rappers like New Job. So we also have that famous and great music also in our countries during 1990s. And one of the important things about music in 1990s is the technology. Technology would really play a big role then. CDs were played, the cassette tapes, and MTV made music videos very important, especially because of the MTV. So because of that, music was not just about sound anymore. It's also about the fashion, lifestyle, image, and maybe some performance. So overall, music in the 1990s really shaped the modern pop culture. The trends, the styles, and the artists from that decade still influence music today. Yes.
So now I will talk about the fashion. For Generation Y, fashion is not just following trends. It is a way to express identity, personality, and values. Around the world, Generation Y mixes global trends with traditional and cultural patterns. For example, someone in Asia might combine modern streetwear like the fast girl, and they will mix it with the traditional patterns. While someone in Europe or Australia might prefer casual or minimalist clothing. And then another fact is that Generation Y really cares about the comfort of their clothing. Unlike other older generation, they prefer casual and comfortable things such as jeans, sneakers, and simple tops. And another important fashion trend among Generation Y is that they really care about the sustainability. Because of the global issues and pollution, care they really care about where their clothes are from and how they are made of. And they really support ethical brands and secondhand shopping and thrift fashion. Yeah, this is all about fashion of the Generation Y.
Now I'll be talking about sports. And in the early years of Generation Y, during 1980s, as you all know, like the traditional sports like football, basketball, and tennis were already very popular. And during that time, athletes were becoming international stars through the television. And as we move into the late 1980s, there was a change, and it was a time when the sponsorships and sport brands became very important for the clubs and the players. And because of that, the athletes were no longer seen as just players. They also became role models and public figures, influencing how people thought, lived, and dressed. And if we're talking about 1990s for the sports, it was a golden era for sports. The reason I say is like it was a time when sports became more global, more commercial, and media driven thanks to the television, sponsorships, and international tournaments. Uh, like I said before, football was the world's most popular sport also at the time. Uh, as you all know, like, the major tournaments like the FIFA World Cup and the FIFA World Cup brought people together, and also like new football leagues like England Premier League changed the way football was played and marketed. And if we also have a look at our country sports during 1990s, we also have some high achievements there. Like we have achievements in sports like lightweight, chillon, and football. But in football, it was not a golden era for our country. By the way, like the golden era for our countries was during 1960 and during 1970s. But even though we didn't win that tournaments, we also have some achievements there. Uh, for example, like in 1993 SEA Games, our national football teams won the silver medal after a loss to Thailand in the final, and also in 1998 Tiger Cup AFF Championship. We didn't win that, and we didn't win the medals, but our national football teams player Mu Lan Wing, the famous one was the top goal scorer of the tournament with 4 goals. So they were the high achievements for our football teams there. Now let's talk about the main sports. And in basketball, the NBA became worldwide mainly because of the Michael Jordan. By the way, this one is called the Michael Jordan. And because of that, basketball was not just about a sport anymore. It became part of fashion and youth culture. And also at the time, tennis also had a strong presence there with stars like Pete Sampras. This one is called Pete Sampras, and also another one is called Andre Agassi, whose rivalry attracted many fans around the world. Of course, like boxing remained very popular with famous fighters like Mike Tyson, and at the same time, the extreme sports like skateboarding and snowboarding were growing fast among young people. So overall, sports in the 1990s was not just about competition, but also about the entertainment, media, and the global influence. So the impact of that decade can still be seen in sports today.
So next, I will talk about films. Generation Y grew up during the rise of DVDs and televisions and cinemas. As adults, they experienced the rise of streaming platforms like YouTube or Netflix, and this changed how Generation Y watch, what they watch, and what kind of content they consume. Uh, Generation Y really appreciate the cultures. Not only they enjoy movies, not only Hollywood, Korean films, Bollywood movies, and so international cinema have become popular during Generation Y era. And this exposure helped Generation Y understand different cultures, languages, and ideas. Films are very meaningful to Generation Y because the millennials prefer movies with strong story, realistic characters, and some kind of myth, and they really prefer movies like that. They also love to enjoy the movies with the social message. The movie is about mental health, identity, and social awareness. Often contact Generation Y through the films.
So this is the last slide of mine. It is about the technology. So technology during this generation changed the world completely. Like I said before, people from Generation Y have experienced the transition, and also they grew up during a time of major technological change. So in the early years of Generation Y during 1980s, the technology was still quite limited. As you all know, like the computers were large, expensive, and they were mostly used in offices and schools. Only a few families had their own computers at home, and also telephones were wired, and maybe like the television also had a small number of channels. People still communicated mainly through the letters and landlines, and there was no internet for the public use. That's why at the time, technology was no part of everyday life, but it was slowly entering homes. And as we move into the late 1980s and early 1990s, technology became more accessible and more personal. There were inventions of mobile phones, but they were still large, expensive, and mainly used by business people. Uh, the the biggest technological change happened in mid to late 1990s. It was a time when the internet was introduced to the public. For the first time ever, people could send emails online, they could search the information online, and they could communicate faster than ever before. And because of that, computers became more easier to use with systems like Windows 95. The mobile phones became easier to use, smaller and more affordable, and CDs replaced cassette tapes, and other lots of technological changes happened because of that. So since then, technology was not how to say like just a tool; it became part of life or a way of life. So overall, technology in the 1990s really changed the world completely and changed in many important ways, from moving from offline to online, from shared devices to personal devices, and from how to say like slow communication to instant communication. And the last thing I want to say is like people from Generation Y learn to use the technology step by step, unlike today's generation who are born into it. That's all.
So I will discuss about the new issues that Generation Y face. So one major issue is that climate change. Generation Y faces a lot of important news because they regularly see news about natural disaster, pollution, and global warming. Millennials worry about the future of the planet, and they support environmental movements. Another important issue is that mental health. The Generation Y express anxiety, stress, and they express emotional well-being. News and social media help reduce stigma and how the Generation Y face this kind of situation. And economics issues also in fact affects the Generation Y because how housing programs and job insecurities are common concerns. Many millennials struggle financially despite being educated. And so because you might wonder how Generation Y face this kind of how they respond to this kind of things. They do not only read news, they also take actions. Many millennials take part in supporting social campaigns. They do the things like that. So in conclusion, Generation Y is globally connected and influential generation.
Battery.
Fashion, films, music, and social news reflect their values, personality, and experiences. Gen Y uses fashion, films, and music to express their identity and personality, and used to stay informed and involved. So understanding millennials help our generation, help our planet to grow better. Yeah, this is all about presentation.
Okay, thank you. Do you have any questions? No? Okay. All right. Let me check that. Voting your time about technology. Have you ever heard about the Internet Cafe?
My apologies for that. I didn't search for it. But in my opinion, I think internet cafe will be maybe they will be even more popular at that time because man, like only a few families had there maybe. I think they didn't have Wi-Fi or some how to say that. Yeah, I think they didn't have internet at home all the time in generation wise era. So I think the internet cafe will be even more popular at the time.
Okay. Another question is like the inventions of not only internet, what other inventions have you found while searching about the technology in Generation Y?
Mobile phones
Mm-hmm.
and also like search engines, things like
The inventions
invention
in Generation Y,
and search.
like between like 35 years, right? So
Yeah.
in the generation, so within 35 years, what kind of new inventions have you found? You haven't?
Yeah, I have.
All right. Okay. So you didn't put some pictures of our athletes from Myanmar.
Yeah.
Why? Why didn't you?
Because of the space?
Sorry?
Space.
Space?
in the slide. Yeah.
And then you should because we have never seen. Okay. All right. I want you to explain a little bit detail about your picture.
Okay.
So the first person with the black guy, who is he? And the group.
Yeah.
Okay. So the first one, who is he? Is he still alive or not?
No, he's dead, and he's called Tupac,
Tupac.
the famous rapper at that generation.
All right. And what about this one? The group?
It's called the Backstreet Boys
Oh,
from the England.
are they still there? Oh,
I think they are still active. Yeah.
all right. Okay, we all know her very well.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, now let's move to Shimona. Personal question for you is, which fashion trends do you like best from Generation Y?
Actually, I really love simple tops,
Small tops. So
Yeah.
which, can you point it out, the picture?
like this one.
That one?
Yeah, that one.
Mm.
And also the second picture.
Mm.
Yeah, simple tops.
Okay, it's 36.
Yeah, I think so because everyone is repeating the fashion trends. Because, for example, the boots
Mm.
we don't wear it in 2024, but
Yeah.
in 2025 we wear it with the skinny jeans.
Mm.
So it is an example of repeating the fashion trends.
Okay.
So I think in 2026 they may repeat it as well.
All right. Okay. So thank you, all of you. And let's start that.